6 p.m. Call into order the special meeting of Wilson County ESD 2. Calling that to order, establishing a quorum. We have 4 of the 5 commissioners here. One's gallivanting around in California, bless her soul. So we've got enough. So let's go with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. You'd think after 7 years I could remember. Yeah, you get that somewhere, you know. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Okay, that takes care of 1 and 2. Would anybody like copies of the agenda?
Sure.
I got a few extra here. Okay. Anybody else here need them?
I'll take one. Since I walked out without a prompt.
I have it. Thank you, Doug.
Yeah, thank you.
Stuck together. It's a little more organized.
Yeah, well, I wanted to be sure we had plenty of anybody shows up there.
It's a lot easier to sit over here and kids.
Okay, we do the pledge. Item 3 is citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for visitors and guests to address the board of directors on any issue. The board may not discuss any presented issues nor any action be taken on issues at this time. I would make a note that comes 1st of September, the state law is changing, and then during the course of regular meetings and when we get down to agenda items and we're covering them, audience will be allowed to participate to a point in those discussions, but that occurs next month, and I think that's a good thing. But, you know, does anybody have anything they wanted to say before we moved on with the agenda?
Well, the reason we're here is we have some signatures for a petition for annexation, or is that to be brought up now?
That's on the agenda.
Okay,
That's
all right.
on the agenda. Any other comments?
No, sir.
Then we'll move along to item 4, which is review, discuss, and accept petitions for elections for expansion of the district, including setting public hearing date. So, with that, I will open it. What do we have in petitions that to be submitted?
Number-wise?
Well, just what area you represent?
We live in Shannon Ridge.
Okay, so you're representing that area.
Shannon Ridge, yes, sir.
And you've got how many petitions? I mean, how many signatures on the petition?
I'll say there's
60, I believe.
60.
Okay, good, because they go to 50, but they go through and they verify.
Oh, yeah, it went over.
Oh, okay.
It went
Yeah,
over.
you know, so you want to have extras
Extras.
just in case, because we've had that before where we've gone through and there's been households that both signed, and then we've looked down and only one of them's registered voter. You know, not often. So, would you like to present that to us?
Yes.
I don't know if you need the rest of the map and all that area.
I don't need the map. All I need is the petitions with the state tax signatures, and legally that gets presented to our secretary. Okay. Thank you, sir. And your name?
John Jones.
John
This is
Jones.
my wife, Tracy Jones.
So, we'll get John Jones presented the, okay. Now, what else do we have? I know we've got another petition coming in.
John Yao from 152 County Road 158 with 64 signatures from our area.
Okay, thank you, John, and we'll present that to you too. Now, it's up to the board to review, discuss, and accept petitions for the elections. There's not anybody here from up the road this time, is there, that was looking to be included in. I brought the documentation on what happens if,
Oh, you're talking about the one down the street.
yeah, that
They're already in.
wanted to move, yeah,
It's different.
yeah, it's a whole different deal, and it's really not gonna happen, but I was gonna give them the law on that, so they could see.
Oh, that's the ones who were here last week?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's very, very difficult once you're in an ESD and an area wants to move to another ESD. The ESDs can agree, but then there's things where the tax rates have to be the same. Well, ESD 1 and ourselves are not, for instance. So that would just kill it right there before you got to any of the other issues.
What is their
to deal
tax
with.
rate?
Huh?
What's ESD one's?
You know, they're 8-something, but they're providing fire only, and they, you know, you could do that. If we were providing fire only, we could probably be a little less. We are one of 20 plus out of 300 or more ESDs in the state. We're one of only 20 that provide both fire and EMS coverage. You know, and it makes it tough, you know, 10 cents on the $100, it makes it tough for Adam and working closely with the board to provide the level of service we do with the money we bring in. You know, it's a challenge, but we do it, so anyway.
We're glad you're doing it.
Huh?
We're glad you're doing it. So
Well, you're more than welcome.
we're-
And we're, you know, we've got our ESD area. We've got 34 square miles on the other side of the river that is assigned to us for EMS only, that we provide service into, and we get a little reimbursement from the county for that. But now, all of this election business would take care of that.
Yeah, how did y'all end up with EMS service and not fire in that area?
You know, I wish I could tell you that. When this district was formed in the 2010 election and started in 2011, the people that were running this fire station in under Eagle Creek reached whatever agreements they did where to draw the boundary lines where. You know, we're not sure. That was pre-ESD day. So then when they came up and said, oh, let's hold this ESD, and got together with the powers that be around and drew the lines, that's how it happened. And then when it didn't include that area, you know, the county came back and said, well, hey, cover this, like they had us covering Ticaster for EMS in those days. That was directed from the county. So that was how that all took place originally. Everything look in order to you there, sir?
We're missing a couple date of births and registration numbers.
I think there was 2 of them that we didn't get the date of birth originally, and we went back and we couldn't catch those people.
Yeah, so those, you know, I don't know if they require that when they're looking through that. I think all they require is that they it'd be on the registered voter list for that name and address.
I was asking you if we are able to call those people by phone because they provided, I think there's a number on
Well, we could, but we need to get this in mañana,
Okay.
tomorrow, if we pass this.
I
mean,
believe
this
other
is-
than those two, everything else is solid,
Yeah,
everything is
yeah.
out, so.
So the process is that we now discuss what we want to do and whether or not we want to go forward. Now, I took the liberty of drawing up a map that shows the current ESD and the two proposed areas. If anybody would like to get it around and look at
Mr. Jones, how many names did you see?
it. Huh?
How many names?
I think there were 60 with the two that
So
missing the two.
62.
Yeah, and we gotta have 50 to pass muster. So,
I can recount.
yeah, the dark gray area here includes our current district with the two additional annexations we did in 2016. So that's all the gray area. This is the proposed area that includes Shannon Ridge and Bentwood Drive down to a little past the Y. And that's 12.18 square miles for that area. Then the area that you brought us, that's the other side, that includes Graytown and, a couple other communities, comes to 47.93 square miles. So if you put all these together, it's about 60 square miles. We're currently a little over 30, so it would basically triple our coverage area. Just as here you go, here's what it looks like.
Most of this area we've been covering anyway.
Yeah, I think that's the
Let's say the
point.
last two fires in my area, y'all been the first responders.
Well, we're the closest. We're the closest. I don't want to leave this out here so it gets away with everything, but anyway, we've got and I've got electronic versions of them. I got these at 3 o'clock this afternoon, so I hadn't had much time to really dig into them and all of that. But what that comes to is, the basic choices we have to make as a board is, do we want to absorb the cost of the election? The last time when we did the expansion and annexation in 2016, the entire election process cost us about $20,000 with what we got from the county, and plus we had to staff 3 different election areas with volunteers that get paid. Well, it was $8 an hour at that point, and we had to have 3 at each point. But we have willingly volunteered our new substation on Cimarron, which will be completed prior to Election Day, and they're going to hold 4 boxes there. They're going to hold 103, 101, 104, and 216, I think it is, which is generally all this area. Now, I know, I forget which one it is y'all are in across the river, but that's a pretty big box. Yeah. And then the folks from y'all's area, because you're a precinct 2, is I believe box 207, that election's going to be held at the, I forget the new fancy name, but the old show barn is where they're having that election. So we would have to staff there too. So, because I don't know if y'all have been through this, what happens at election time is you go in and you go for the regular election, the county and the state, any state amendments and any of that's on the normal ballot, and then you move over to okay, here's the table for the annexation.
Supplementary public question.
Yeah, now, and there will more than likely be two of those. There'll be, if we vote to do this, there'll be one that's for this annexation, and then there'll be another one for the creation of the 4 and 5 ESDs. And that's just how that'll work, you know, you have to step to each one and vote.
Now, one thing I did want to bring up that I've been making sure to try and make clear to people is reading questions. So somebody, for example, everyone in Shannon Bridge, Graytown, Nutterbury area, you can 100% vote yes all the way across. You can vote yes for 4 and 5, and you can vote yes to be annexed, so that way, making sure that the entire county at that point would be covered by ESDs. And 4 and 5 would basically, they would still form if the vote passes, and of course you can still vote yes, and it would just be minus the area that was proposed for annexation to ESD 2.
Since we're established,
We take
we
precedence.
take precedence on that.
And I've followed up with that with the state, because this has happened in other areas
What's
before.
CST 4 and 5?
That's the two ESDs that Floresville Fire and Floresville EMS are proposing to be created. And they're having their hearing, as we speak at the courthouse about that. They've already submitted their petitions and stuff. We're on a really tight time frame because the last day to get everything done with the election office is the 19th. So if we choose to take this, we'll need to set a public hearing notice, because you got to do public hearing notice by law 30 days out from the time that you accept the petitions and decide to hold the election. And we can do that. And then there's some things that have to be in the paper at least 2 weeks prior. And there's a lot of signage that's got to be put in place several weeks. I mean, it requires, I think, 3 within the current ESD and 1 in each of the new areas. Well, I'm thinking the size of the new areas probably need more than 1 each, even though that's what the law requires to have staked around about when the public hearing will take place. Now, we got more folks on the board. I'd like to hear from y'all. I think I'm the only one that was here on the last election.
Yep.
You were. Yeah, so I'd like to hear questions, statements, comments from the rest of the board, the chief, the attorney, because this is real important stuff. I mean, if we don't do this and 4 and 5 take place, y'all will be included in those, and you're basically locked. I mean, there are some state laws where you could get out, but not realistically, because we'd have to agree with 2 ESDs and they'd have to agree with us to give up something. Well, you know, I mean.
Well, my biggest contention is this. We're covering them now on all the roads.
Right.
So it would help be beneficial to them if we annex them.
I believe that to be an accurate statement.
And beneficial to y'all as well.
Oh, yeah, but I'd rather look out for you. I've got coverage. I live close. But, I feel sorry for you guys that don't have them. And if you have to wait for Floresville to show up, you could have problems.
I mean, we have even responded to calls in Floresville on occasion, because they've been limited. Now, if they get an ESD passed, they'll be able to hopefully expand, their equipment and personnel to cover it.
But I guess where I'm lost on this whole deal is, I know the kind of equipment they run, I know the kind of people that they run. They're a long ways from putting something together to become an ESD, I'm sorry.
Well, if a brand new ESD is formed, if the election passes, it's formed the first of the year, commissioners will appoint, county commissioners appoint ESD commissioners like they did us. And then it's a year. It'll be the tax that comes out October-ish of next year before they start getting money, really November, December of the following year. So basically, they've got to cover that for free for a year. And we had to do that when we were first formed. You know, that's just how it is. But
I think it's beneficial to everybody involved that we do it. Adam, you're the one that has to do the coverage. What is your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I do agree, especially for the area that Mr. Yao lives in over here. That's a good drive out from town. You're talking about
Way up.
and even for y'all as well in Shannon Ridge, as to where if you need a fire EMS unit, it's coming off of 97 West to come to you. So that's a pretty good drive. Even lights and sirens, it really only shaves down your response time by a little bit if traffic cooperates. So it's all about providing service to the community. It's really not about anything other than that. Whenever one of y'all dials 911, you need to rest assured that you're going to have either an ambulance, you're going to have an engine, a brush truck in a timely manner, and that you're getting qualified staff along with it whenever you do pick up the phone. And I think that's really the biggest concern here. I know for the past couple of years, even we respond just as trying to help. We know that Floresville is volunteer, and this whole part of the county up here, the areas that they're talking about, especially, I mean, if it's a fire, we're there and on scene substantially before another unit arrives from another department. And
Yeah, the one I showed up to right down the road, y'all were done before they showed up.
are you talking about the structure fire?
Yeah.
So the fire that he's referring to is a structure fire behind the, I can't remember the name of the bar, right on 1303.
yeah.
And it was a room and contents fire that had spread down the hallway and throughout the home. And we did make entry, and we were in overall by the time that other units arrived on scene.
Yeah, we have had some conversation with some of the county commissioners who were concerned that we were driving this to expand to get more money. And I've tried to make clear to them that this was not something the ESD started. Number one, the board can't promote this even if we choose to go ahead with it. The board itself can't get out there and ask, push for it. We can certainly be in sessions and answer questions and that sort of thing. But I tried to explain, and I think I was successful in explaining to county commissioners that this was citizen driven. This was the residents out in the county saying, we don't want to be part of 4 and 5. We would rather be annexed by ESD2. Please don't get on us that we're out there trying to grow the business. I mean, would it be nice for us? Sure it would be. But since we're already doing the coverage and we could get a little tax base from it, and also.
You're doing the work anyway, you might as well be getting paid for it.
Well,
Getting better equipment to better service my area.
Right.
A little bit of the problem, I think, is right off the bat is that there's not enough public knowledge in those areas about what's going on and how it directly affects them. Just a little history between her and I. She's actually a San Antonio firefighter. I was a firefighter in Air Force. That's kind of how we met. But we're aware of how important response times are, how fast the trucks can get there, the quality of equipment that you have to provide that service. And I think if more of the community, more of Shannon Ridge and the local areas, if enough people knew about it, maybe that there'd be more people here at the meeting, it'd be, help drive that that idea right off the bat, but unfortunately, people are busy, they don't pay attention to what's going on around them, and they just don't realize that this is going on. I bet you ask half the people and they wouldn't even know. So that's why we're here. We realize that response time is important for us. It's important for our insurance purposes, for our rates for our insurance, and just the safety of all the community together. And there's just not enough people that find out about it.
We didn't realize until we talked, the chief.
You don't realize until something happens in your area.
Right.
True.
Yeah. So you see something that burns to the ground, or somebody that dies unfortunately because they can't get help fast enough.
I used to work in District 7 in Bear County, and most of the people there thought they were being covered by San Antonio Fire Department.
Right, they don't even know.
Well, I know I got an email from the commissioner recently, kind of all up in the air, that these brochures were being passed out in Shannon Ridge about ESD2 and what it can provide for you. Well, I responded to him. I said, we were making calls, primarily EMS, in which the people that we were providing medical care to thought they were being provided medical care still by Eagle Creek Volunteer Emergency Services, which we absorbed October 1st of 2016. So we said, let's put together a little brochure that identifies us, shows what we do, and hand that out. And if we're making a call, helping some people out, give it to them so they see what's happening. Well, that's the brochure that's being passed out, which is fine, and I explained to him that brochure was developed early in the year before anything came up about other ESDs or annexation or anything.
Solicitation.
And I said, now it's being used. I said,
It's
I'm
not
sorry.
solicitation, it's information. It's
Yeah,
information.
yeah, and I think our point is, we're here to look out what we can do best for the citizens in the area. And like I told the commissioner, no matter how any of these elections come out, we're still going to be supporting all the first responders in the county. I mean, we've got mutual aid agreements and things like that. So, we would still do it even if the elections didn't go how some people may or may not want them to go.
May I ask why the commissioner would be what are you concerned?
He is, what he voiced to me is that he feels like he's caught between a rock and a hard place, because he's got this thing that came out for the 2 new ESDs, 4 and 5, and, supportive of that. And then this annexation comes along, and what does he tell his constituents? And he's sort of I said, I understand. I said, it's not, but I said, you got to realize this is being brought about by the voters, not the ESD. And I said, honestly, I said, if it was me personally, I'd tell them to vote for everything. I said, that way, Floresville, the EMS and the ESDs would get their two new ESDs to cover a large portion, right around 300 square miles.
Yeah, I would say there's a lot
And,
more to go.
and then you would have, the 60 or so, or 90,
Yeah.
what are 60?
About 90 altogether.
90 altogether, the
Yeah.
60 that we would add to ours to cover. I said, now, how he'll choose to respond to that, I don't know. Just trying to make it clear, we're willing to do what's best.
Question, will we have to do anything else to get the sales tax in the new area? Or how's that gonna work?
No,
Not that there's, I think, a lot of commercial.
No, what happens is, and I've got the sample ballot from, the last election, and the way it was worded was, and this this was the one for, City View, not that it matters. You know, there's two items on the prop. One, do you want to join? Yes or no? The second prop is the City View service area, assuming its proportionate share of the outstanding debts and taxes of the Wilson County Emergency Service District Number 2, if it is added to the district. So once they were added to the district, the sales tax is part of that and went right along with it, you know. And that gets us some
We're collecting
decent money.
2 cents left over from the county,
You know,
from the state, in the annexed areas.
This was voted in 2 years ago.
yeah, we actually voted that in 2014.
14, yeah.
2014, we voted that in, and it's getting us substantially
But like
over.
you said, in the two annexed areas, there's not that much business.
Well, but to be honest with
Right.
you, they look at home-based businesses, there's a lot more than you
A lot more
think
than
out
you
there.
think, yeah.
We've got 100 businesses within our current ESD area that sales tax are being collected.